Living in harmony is possible if you know your emotions and how to handle them. Dr. Carmen Roman will share with you in an engaging way the current psychology by sharing herself or interviewing experts who will inspire you. Learn how to live a life of fullness and how to recover your emotional harmony with Dr. Roman. Welcome to Emotions in Harmony.
Hello, amigos in harmony. Welcome to another episode of this podcast and now in Facebook Live video. Thank you for your support. It's slowly growing up the community. It's kind of a shy community still in the English Facebook Live, but we are here. And I always say sometimes it's just my husband and I, or not even my husband because he's in class sometimes. But I know that you guys will come later. If you are live right now, I want to let you know that we are not live in the interview, but I am live for your questions and comments, and most likely Dr. Lydiana Garcia will be live too. So you can absolutely ask questions, comments. We are here. Say something, please, because Facebook now focus on videos that nobody comment. Yeah. So say something. I'm going to introduce to you Dr. Lydiana Garcia. Dr. Lydiana Garcia was born and raised in the beautiful island of Puerto Rico. She has a PhD in counseling psychology from the Inter-American University in Puerto Rico, and she moved to Los Angeles in 2008. Part of her professional experience includes working with children and families that survive childhood abuse. This is why actually we are going to talk about with her about sexual abuse. She works with domestic violence. She works with immigration-related issues, and she works mainly with adults and families, our Latino families. She started her private practice in 2015, almost 3 years now, and her areas of expertise are trauma, PTSD, as we know it, teenagers with sexual abuse or rape, and families who struggle with their teenagers and young people in the family. She also does psychological assessments. Sometimes part of our job is to do psychological assessments, so you can reach to any PhD in psychology and they may be able to help. In this case, Dr. Lydiana Garcia does those kind of psychological assessments. She had taught in the graduate level of psychology in the Universidad del Turabo in Puerto Rico. Did I say it correctly, Dr. Garcia?
Yeah.
Turabo.
Yeah. Yes.
In Puerto Rico. In Antioch University in Los Angeles. And she also now is a clinical supervisor in the Chicago School of Professional Psychology. So besides being a psychologist, let me tell you that Dr. Garcia enjoys spending her time with her adventure driving toddler son and her husband. And they go for biking, traveling, and explore diverse things. Wow. It's an honor to have you in the program. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So
it's an honor for me. Thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm. So you have a son. You have a 2-year-old son or 3?
2.5. Yeah, going on 15.
Well,
yes.
I guess
he's already doing the. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say he's already like in the stage of, Mom, I want you to sit here, and he with the blue cup or with the McQueen cup, all those requests. So yes.
We are not in your home, so he will not be jumping in the screen, probably.
Oh, no, we're not. Yeah, we're not. Yes, not. Yeah, no. Otherwise I couldn't do this. Yeah, he loves to be in the camera and all that as well.
Yeah. Well, I have 2 cats, and one of them just absolutely loves the camera, so she may come and just pop her head. Yeah.
Okay.
She does actually very often, especially when I am doing live videos.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Let me introduce the topic. We are talking about sexual abuse, but this time we are talking about from the family perspective. Yeah, how the family can recover from sexual abuse. What are other symptoms, stress signals, etc., that the family has when it's a sexual abuse in the family. And sadly, to conclude that, but most likely it's a different sexual abuses in the in the lineage of the family. Yeah, so we are going to talk about that. And this is a very sensitive topic. Thank you for willing to take that topic. And hopefully this becomes part of the library of many families for their emotional health. Yeah. So we know for you that you are at home or working or driving or something, we know that this is a very personal topic, probably. You may not want to share this topic with your friends, or you may want to listen by yourself or listen several times. And we want you to know that even though we are therapists, we are not equipped to do emergency services. Neither Dr. Garcia or I are equipped to for an emergency call. You should call 911 if that's happened. And also, this is not intent or in exchange for therapy. We are giving you so many ideas, as much as we can, for you to go to your therapist and explore that further. And of course, we are to help if you need more help. Yeah. So, topics like this is very difficult to share. Yeah, or very difficult to acknowledge that you are listening or viewing or something. But this is actually part of it, part of the problem, that we keep it for ourselves. So even though it's a little more difficult, just take now the link and share it to everybody in your friends. So in that case, you don't need to target anybody in particular. In that case, you don't need to anything. Just share it, because we want to relieve suffering for people, and we want to bring those topics to the light and to the public service, so they can take advantage of professionals like Dr. Garcia today. And remember, I always insist, get your information from trusted sources. And this is why I am very committed to bring you trusted sources. And this is the case today. So please share as much as you can. Welcome, Dr. Garcia. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
How do you want?
I think that's really important. Oh, I was just going to say, I think it's really important to bring that. Sometimes because I work with students and I supervise them, and when I bring topics of trauma, because I'm so passionate about it, I keep forgetting to do the disclosure of the triggers. So I'm learning to start doing that, to know that this is a very heated topic, and some things, if you have experiences or yourself or in your family, this might bring some stuff. So it's really important to seek out services if you need to, and know that that might happen or not. So, yeah.
And it's okay to be uncomfortable. It's okay because because we want you to be uncomfortable in order to do something for yourself. Yeah. And we don't want you to get comfy with trauma. It's not a thing we want. We want you to be getting very uncomfortable that you want to get rid of it. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's super important. Yeah, because it's something very common. It happens a lot, and especially with the Latino families that I work, is a lot of it is that holding of the desire for it to not happen. But if it happened, it already happened. But a lot of families try to. That's the first reaction in many ways. It's like, no, this needs not happen. And maybe if I don't think about it, or try to forget about it, and it's something that is really hard to forget. You can recover
Lydiana, Dr. Lydiana?
You can call me, let's say, Dr. Lydiana. Let me go for the first name.
Okay, okay, Dr. Lydiana. Well, let's start with the questions. My first questions I have for you is, what are the common emotional responses that a parent or a caregiver may have when they learn about sexual abuse?
Yes. Yeah. What I've noticed is that some of the common responses are very similar to like other responses when you go through really hard times. So a lot of times is the first one is shock. Like you're in shock, you're like in disbelief. You might disbelieve it or try to brush it under the carpet like it did not happen, because it's hard for a parent to feel like they allowed it or that they had something to do. So that's another of the response, which is the guilt and the shame that comes. And depending on the incident and if the parent had gone through something like that, then the shame and guilt can even be higher. Like, how could I let this happen if it already happened to me? Another of the emotional response is anger toward the perpetrator, toward themselves, sometimes anger toward the child, because you might have talked to your child how to protect themselves, of how to say no or how to do this. And a lot of times that's one of the reactions is like, but I taught you how to say no or something like that. But I would say that even if you might have that reaction, which I think is quite normal, it's really important to be very careful about how you respond to your child in that sense, because it can promote guilt on the child and that, or the teenager, and the teenager, they didn't ask for that. That's something that they don't have any responsibility. It was the perpetrator. The parents might also have another emotional response, like wanting to like sadness and hopelessness in terms of the future. And what I've noticed is with the families that it happens within the family members. Maybe it's one of mom's partner or a family member. Then it's also that whole confusion and like feeling very frustrated and not knowing what to do, whether to tell, whether to not, whether to believe the child, because a lot of times the kids or the teenagers might take it back. Or if you're asking many questions, they might say, it did not happen. So that's another of the emotional response, like again, like wanting for it to happen. So those are some of the common responses that I've noticed. Yeah.
I see that. I see, you're right. It's like this shame or this secret guilt that why I couldn't see it, why I couldn't prevent it, or shaming the victim. Yeah. Why you were there, or why you saw it, or something like that. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And I think that happens because, thinking from a different topic, but when you're disciplining your child and you have taught them not to jump out of the couch, not to jump because they can fall. Let's say they did it and they fell, and now you have to take them to the hospital. Many parents go like, like why you did that? Because they don't want to go through the pain. They don't like seeing their children hurt. So I think that happens with sexual abuse, kind of like, why did you let that happen? But it's really important to clarify that is a very different incident than jumping out of the couch or running out the street or doing something. It's something that somebody else took advantage, and most likely an adult or someone much older. So even if you've taught your child how to say no, how to alert you or let you know about these things, depending on the child's temperament and the perpetrator's grooming process, many of these children still go through these experiences, and it's not something to be blaming the child or the adolescent. It's putting the blame on the person that did it. Yeah.
There was a research that I studied in graduate school that it was about people coming to an interview, young women coming to an interview, and they were getting to a room, and the person who was interviewing them started asking them to take clothing of their and until the point that they end up only on their underwear, on their bra, yeah. And
Yeah.
then they interview them later and they say, why you will do it? It was only a job interview. Yeah. But it's some kind of enchanting that when we put ourselves in that trusting place, in that very vulnerable place. And that was, we're talking about young adults, that they understand that we cannot be taking orders like that in a job interview. But that, I can see that in a sexual abuse also. It's like you say, so the victim, the perpetrator is working its way through it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it usually, if it's someone within the family, which it happens mostly by somebody that they know, that whole experience of a danger, fear, of like stranger danger fear, with all the families that I have worked with that have gone through sexual abuse, which right now are about like almost 40, there's only been one case from everybody that I worked, just one case that it was a stranger danger, and it was something gang related. So there was some relationship to the family ish. So, but everybody is usually an older sibling, an uncle, a father, a cousin, but there's usually some grooming involved because the person most likely will want to do it more than just one and is trying to look for a child or an adolescent that is not going to talk. So that way the person can continue doing it. And there's usually that whole piece of whatever they say as a way to help kind of continue this abuse. Like, you look for this, you deserve this. If you tell, I'm going to kill your parents, or if the family is an immigrant, undocumented, I'm going to go and tell the migra, or I'm going to, you know, there's so many threats that the perpetrator tends to do as a way to continue doing what he or she wants.
Or something sweet as I'm going to get you an iPhone, or I'm going to continue to give the money to your mother. Some of other promises. Tell me, Dr. Lydiana, what do you see in family members that are not the parents, the siblings or cousins, the grandma, that learn from this situation? What do you see on that part? What are the reactions?
You know, it's really important. Yeah, it's really important to bring this because usually families are not only the immediate families, and there is some relationship with external, with grandmas, uncles. And what I've seen with the families that I work is usually if it's the child is a little older, they don't want to tell the other family members. And depending on the parents, sometimes they do want to tell. So let's say that they do tell other family members. It's mixed reviews or mixed responses. Some of them are more into wanting to keep the family intact. So trying to say, we don't have to talk about it. Let's not, it didn't happen. Or maybe maybe that's what you thought it happened. So try to promote a little bit without maybe some intention, but wanting, promoting some shame and guilt on the victim. Some other family members get very emotional, dysregulated, and try to protect the victim. Some other family members, like siblings, there will be some changes. There will be some times that the family will not be the same. So some of the siblings feel kind of grief or loss of how the family was functioning in the past. Maybe if it happened within a family member, if there's any separation, there's usually conflict between uncles and cousin if it happened within an uncle and cousin. So it's very complex. And at the end, it could really impact the victim, because if the victim feels now that not only he or she discloses information that it impacted the immediate family, but now it's impacting the external family, like events, like maybe now they cannot go to a quinceañera, or they cannot go to a birthday party, or where are they going to go and have Christmas if it is usually at the house of the perpetrator, let's say an example. So now the victim feels that not only that they broke the immediate family, but they also broke the external. So it's really important for the caregiver to really be mindful about the consequences and make some choices to try to prevent and communicate to the victim that that's not their fault.
Actually, the victim services approves separately for therapy each family member,
Yes.
which is amazing.
Yes. It's usually less. Yes, it's usually less hours, but you can request more. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Which is another important thing, to seek out services, and those are. But it has to be if they submitted a police, a file, like reported to the police. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that is to say that whether you have one kind of insurance or out of pocket or whatever, is important that at some point you take care of everybody in the family, because everybody is impacted.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I used to work in an agency that they did a year-long sexual abuse kind of support groups, and it was really amazing because they would divide by the groups by ages, victims versus siblings groups, and they also had caregivers, and they would separate it like with the females and the male, so like moms and dads, and it was so helpful because that the family would all come together, and during the same time each family member was receiving some kind of support from that perspective, because siblings definitely have that other experience, like they're seeing their sibling different, they're now might be like feeling, some of them, if they're older, they might feel responsible for it, or that they could have done something, but there are some family changes that happen. Yeah.
What do you think is a mistake or common mistakes that families members do with good intention? They want to help, but they are doing it in the wrong way.
I think one of the biggest mistakes, and I would say, again, case by case, but one of the biggest mistakes that I've seen is that the families want to kind of keep it as a secret and not do anything about it, because if they're concerned about the consequences by reporting it to the police, because there's definitely some consequences, so they're afraid of what could happen. They're afraid maybe the social workers, if it happened within the family, they will investigate, so they are afraid that they might take their other children or even the victim out. So because of their fears and misconceptions, a lot of times they don't do anything, and I feel like it's a big mistake, because the message that most of the victims get as a result of this is, I'm not good enough, or like it did not happen, or I'm the one to blame. And now I have to like keep this as a secret as well. And that's usually something that later on, when I work with family therapy, and the victims usually tell the parents that you didn't do nothing for me, so that means that you didn't love me, and that really it's really hard to work through that. Yeah.
Do you have anything else that we are missing before I put you in the hot spot?
Let's see, anything else? What I would say is part of knowing that there are options to heal. A lot of families have gone through this. This is very, very common. The more support you can get, whether it's therapy, whether it's through your church, whether it's through some support groups that you find, because there are a lot of free resources to look for something. Because I have seen a lot of families, and even though right now, if you're going and you're in the midst of it, you might feel like you will never get back. There's hope that the family in several months will start feeling again some kind of normalcy. It might be different, but it's very attainable. So just to look for help and following your cultural values, because there is a lot of services out there.
Actually, I have seen families that they get better than before, in the sense of they start to communicate better. They start they set priorities different. Like, I will put you an example. One of the parents that I have worked with, when one of the fathers say, I was ready to open my company. I was all successful. Bringing the big dream for the family. And then this happened, and he totally achieved his priorities and want to spend more time with his kids.
Yes.
It's just a beautiful change. And I think the success and everything else will come together later. But he set his priorities.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. No, it's so. Yeah. And that's why I think it's helpful if the parents and the family can find family support, not only for the victim services, but family support. And there's those groups like NAMI and all these other kind of groups that sometimes family goes. So meet other family. And if you don't want to talk to your family members because at that moment you don't want to, start creating rumors and anything, and you want to keep it as a family, but to seek out, because there are other families that have gone and have been much better eventually. Yeah.
I had a family, and this happened a couple of times, that the sibling doesn't want to tell the other siblings, but the parents know, everybody else know. And even though they are small children, once they learn, or I might say, I have spent a couple sessions just talking about the no topic, yeah, something we are not going to tell you.
Yeah.
And the little ones are like, oh, probably they are going to die of cancer, or they are going to, they start imagining worse things because they know something is going on.
Yeah.
And their mind is wild. Yeah. So learning in the family.
Usually, Yes. And the other one last thing I would say really important is there's a lot of families that they don't want to talk to their children about sexual abuse or how to protect themselves, or more about the stranger danger, because they have the fear that if they do, that they're going to be promoting curiosity for these things. Because there is something else that is, I think, is a different topic, but is very related in terms of what is a normal sexual behavior, depending on the ages and stages in development of the child and adolescent. So a lot of the moms that I've worked, they were like, I didn't talk to her about it because I didn't want to create any curiosity or any, or any of that. Or the other opposite of the moms that are like, don't trust anyone, don't do anything. And they don't help them, giving them skills. And there was something that I read to prepare for today that it was really good, is give the children the skills, not generalizations. And I was like, this is a big aha. It's like the children need skills to work through situations, not everybody's bad, not generalizations. So that's something else.
Yeah. Well, I will put you in the hot spot now. Yeah.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm ready.
You are ready for our video and Facebook and audio listeners. Let me tell you, the hot spot is I'm going to ask Dr. Lydiana questions that she can answer to whatever comes to her mind. It's my way of picking it in their brain of an expert, because sometimes we don't have time. Sometimes the topics are so amazing and we just want to give you the best so you can keep going and do your research. So, Dr. Lydiana, what is a daily habit that you believe that contributes to the emotional success of some families in the recovery process?
Spending time together, playing games, having dinner together, doing something that does not require necessarily talking about something hard. Playing a game, like a board game.
Excellent. I am learning Lost Cities right now. The card game is a very simple. Lost Cities. I started learning last week. Something that is fun together as a family.
Something to enjoy together. And usually what I've noticed is board games sometimes with family that does not require like, what would you do with your life, or difficult conversations. Usually start bringing them together, and then you can go into the harder topic. But you need to build that relationship. So something fun, like cranium or something fun. Yeah.
I like it. I like Connect 4, for example.
Yes.
What is an online resource that you find that is very good for these families?
Yes. I love the website is called NCTSN, and I think it stands for National Child NCT Traumatic Stress Network. I think that's what it is, but NCTSN I'll tell you right now, I think it's .com. It's really, really, really helpful. Yeah. nctsn.org. And over there is the National Child Traumatic Stress Net, where you can go through all the different traumas. And there's a lot of information about sexual abuse and other type of trauma. And there's a lot of handouts, not only in English, but also in Spanish. There's information about how to advocate for in school, even for teachers, about how to understand this kind of traumas, because they do impact school most likely. So it's really, really comprehensive.
Nice. Yeah. Excellent. We're going to put it in the show notes as well. No, as well.
Yes. Sorry, can you repeat that question?
I will put in the notes.
Oh, perfect. Yes. Yes, that was great.
What is your favorite related book?
So usually it's hard to choose, but I got some of this and I really like this one. I don't know if you guys can read it, but it's called Helping Your Child Recover from Sexual Abuse by Karen Adams and Jennifer Fay. What I love about the book, let me give you an example, is that it not only has a topic, but it has what to say on the right side, and it has examples of statements about how to communicate about those things to your child, because a lot of times with the families, what I've noticed is that they're able to understand the concepts, but it's how do I apply this? So I love that this book, everything, like they're talking about isolation in here, which is a response for children, then what to say as a parents, and in a way that is recommended by therapists. So that's one that I thought it was really helpful. There's this second one.
There is, let me, I'm having it here, so you can see the screen if you are in the video. Helping your child recover from sexual abuse is one. And then the other one?
Yes. The other one is Healing the Harm Done. This one is about a parent's guide to helping your child overcome the effects of sexual abuse. I also got it through Amazon, so it's Healing the Harm Done. And this one, it's bilingual. So first it has it in English, and then it has it in Spanish. So the whole thing. So I think, that one with the butterfly. So I think that's really, really helpful.
And
then the last one that I would say,
we will put the links.
We will put the links. Yes. Mm-hmm. The other one is that one right there that you have, the when your child has been molested. That one is really helpful as well. That one. Mm-hmm. And the last one I'm going to talk, Trauma Proofing Your Kids. Yes, it's a great book because it does have information about how to prevent, how to build resilience for any kind of trauma with the child. It does have a chapter completely about sexual violence. It has chapters for all the types of trauma and how to increase, because a lot of the children that go or are chosen as a victim tend to share some characteristics that, like, they're usually shy, they're usually a little less self-confident. So this helps with anything, with bullying. So it's really helpful. I love this book. And it's from trauma perspective, and Peter lived the somatic experiencing, which I think is really helpful.
Yeah. Wow, you gave us very good resources. All of these will be in the show notes for you listening to follow up. And let me see, I have last question. What is one tip that you will give to a parent who is looking for support?
I would say to look into in your county, and I'm talking more in US, if there's any sexual advocate or a rape center, they usually have a lot of resources. Like, I'm in LA, so there's one in Santa Monica, but these are usually centers throughout the United States, or if you're in a Latino country, try to look up about resources, because they can help you, direct you to the resources where you live. And I think that's really important.
And just to let you know, when you are looking for these resources, we as professionals, we hear those questions all the time. So most likely your questions will not be new to us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So be comfortable with that, because most likely. And if they don't treat you well, you can look for another center.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, keep looking for someone that you feel comfortable.
Yes, because we tend to be more sensitive. We are vulnerable when we are looking for help.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, well, I think we are done for now. Of course, as always, there is so much to explain about this topic and so many examples and, give us something that is, positive, that you seen families survive? Have you seen them smile again?
Yes. I've seen, like you mentioned, families get reunited. There were families that there were some miscommunication or some separation between the father and the mom. And even though they remained separated with their own partners, they were now able to communicate. And we were, like, there was a case, a family that I was able to help them also coordinate a quinceañera and for them. And it was like such a special way of working through not only the sexual abuse that the minor endured, but also as a family, how to get back together. So that was really pretty. And at the end, the client was really happy to not only heal from it, but also now have mom and dad be less fighting between each other. So I would say there is hope. And I've seen also women not only getting healed through it, but then also helping others. And I think that's so important because that's a way, if you are feeling like you want to do it, that you can also now be of service. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. There is hope in the other side. And then there is hope when you look for the correct help. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Lydiana. Let's actually share, since we are here in the screen sharing. I am loving it, this screen sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's share your website, because you can talk about it, but you can show them meanwhile. We don't want to share. Let me go and share them. There, this one.
Yes.
This one.
Yes.
Tell us about your practice. Tell us about how they can find you. And I will show your beautiful website.
Yeah, so I am located in Los Angeles. I recently just moved to the office that I'm right now recording from, which is in the 108 National Boulevard. And the easiest way to describe it is from the freeway, the 10, the exit on Overland, the big white building, which my information is over there in the contact me information. And I do individual therapies. I also do family therapy, psychological assessments, not only to try to check for mental health diagnosis, but also for immigration services, for VAWA, for U visas, for the forgiveness and all those kind of evaluations. I also do that. And I have experience doing home visits. I do that very limited, but that's something else that I could do as well. Yeah. And the sexual abuse survivor group that you're put in right now, I am trying to get it together. It's been a little harder because it's something that usually people don't want to work with or bring it back. Even though I get a lot of calls, then they actually don't pan out, but definitely something that I have in mind and how to be able to provide some support groups for them. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you doing only women or only men or combined or?
Combined, and I recently just got paneled with Medical, but the Anthem Blue Cross. So that's the only insurance that I take. I also do California victims of crime cases. So that's somebody that has reported a crime. It's not only about a sexual abuse or rape crime. It could be other kind of crimes. If you apply in your county, you could potentially benefit from that, and that's free therapy. And they would give you some hours, and those are all free.
I always tell my clients, this California victims of crimes is the beautiful way to get professional private services.
Yes.
At no cost. Yeah.
Yes.
At no cost.
Yes.
It's like, you can literally, it's like a check. You can take that check to your therapist and they will take the rest.
Yes. Yeah.
I work with that. It's the only program. I don't work with insurances at all, but this is the only program I do just because I love it. It's so beautiful. it allows me to help the families that I want to help. Yeah. And this, I will keep that part for the Spanish. But definitely you can find Dr. Lydiana. You can find her in her website, drlydianagarcia.com. You have a blog, Doctor.
Yes. And I have been writing in Spanish and English. I'm gonna resume that soon, but definitely I have different, and also a Facebook page that I have done some videos about some of these recommendations.
You have done some videos?
Yes. Yeah, they're usually way shorter, but yes, you can also find it in my Facebook page.
In your
it's
page.
I believe it's Dr. Lydiana Garcia, yes.
Dr. Lydiana Garcia is just Facebook. We can all of these put in the notes for people to find you.
Okay.
And feel free to, I am going to add you to the group, to the Amigos en Harmony group, and feel free to come and put your post there. Because we need a lot of people that are helping our Latino community. Yeah. So.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thank you, Dr. Lydiana, and I'm sure people will want to contact you, so probably they will find you, and just keep going with this beautiful work you are doing. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I hope if there's any questions, I can answer them. Yeah.
And for you as a video or audio listener, please share this information, because remember, we want families to be healthy, happier, and that depends on you. We only rely on your willingness and kindness to share, because our job is to produce the material. Yeah. So please share and enjoy it, and send feedback if you have anything, if we didn't say something correctly, if we could say it better. Always tell us. Yeah, we are here to listen. Okay, bye for now.
We have ended one more episode of Emotions in Harmony. See you the next one, when Dr. Carmen Roman will help us to have a more fulfilled life, caring for ourselves and the ones we care for. Meanwhile, visit www.emotionsinharmony.com to see the show notes, subscribe, and enjoy more content.